Good morning, class. Today, you should already have watched the flipped lesson, but we are going to review that and we're going to learn about timelines. So let me share my screen. And let's go to the flip lesson. So, of course, we're going to talk about timelines, like I said. So this is just a timeline, and it's an example of one. So a timeline is a way to show how time passes. This timeline shows what happened, and it's just a 1 hour timeline. So it's basically just showing how they get ready. So they wake up, brush their teeth, get dressed, eat breakfast, and then they leave for the bus. So I'm just gonna show you guys another timeline. It's about me. So what do you guys think would come first? The high school graduation, birth, or Sweet 16?
Birth.
Birth, that is correct. So then that would be in 1997. So then what would come next? Anyone?
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16, that is correct. And then lastly, of course, would be the high school graduation. So that's another timeline for big events in your own life you could do. And that's it for that. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. So first, I want to ask you guys, who knows what chronological order is? Does anyone know? Okay, so chronological order is the arrangement of things following one another in time. So, does everyone understand what chronological order is? Okay, good. So that's basically how the events of a timeline happen. They happen in a certain order. Have y'all ever thought about how important a timeline is and how the sequence of events are, how important that is? Well, it's very important because if we didn't have a timeline, we would not understand how things happen and go on in our lives. So first, we're going to do a timeline on George Washington. So the George Washington timeline. Okay, so first I'm going to pass out this piece of paper that you all can do, and we're going to cut and paste where they go. So you can go ahead and get your glue and your scissors out while you wait on me to pass these out. Okay, so now that everyone has it, let's see and work on this together. So the options are 1732, which is when George Washington was born. The next option is 1776, America declares independence from England. And then the next one is 1799, is when George Washington dies. The next one is 1759, which George marries Martha. And then 1789, George Washington is elected the first president of the United States. So out of these options, which do you think would come first? That's right, 1732, which was when George Washington was born. The next one, does anybody have an idea of what would come next? Good, it would be 1759, which is when George gets married. Anybody know what the next one would be? Right, 1776, which is when America declares independence from England. Then the next one would be, that is right, it would be 1789, which is when George Washington was elected the first president of the United States. Then lastly, of course, it would be 1799, which is when George Washington dies. Does everyone see how all these events were main big events in his life? And they all went in order by date, which would be chronological order. Does everyone see that? Okay, good. Does anyone have any questions about how a timeline works? No? Okay, so now that we have done this George Washington timeline together, I want everyone to go ahead and get a poster board and things to make your own timeline. You're going to make a timeline on the day throughout the school. So what do you do when you first get here, and what do you do until you leave? So that you guys will have about 15-20 minutes to do that. And so you guys can get everything together. All right, good. Would anyone like to share their timeline? Okay. Good. That was a good timeline and good details on how you go throughout the day. So again, we learned about how timelines work and the chronological order that they go in. I hope everyone has a good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow.